next story here, let's talk about Russell Brunson acquiring Dan Kennedy's life work. So this happened a little while ago where I was surprised. So Dan Kennedy was not doing well. There was originally rumors that he died, and then it turned out he did not die, and then he actually did die. There was something like that. I'm actually not even sure.
That's the weirdest story out of this whole thing too. Like when Frank Kern sent Russell Brunson audio note, dude, I got some really bad news. Dan Kennedy died last night. Like how does that even happen? How does a rumor spread that you're dead?
It's weird.
I'm not dead, guys. But that's the weirdest thing. Like, how many times in history has that happened when a famous person dies, but not really?
I don't even know if he died now. Like, is he still alive now? I'm not confused.
Oh, jeez.
I'm confused by this now.
Now I gotta Google this.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's gonna be hard because there was all these rumors. So for those who don't know about Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson made a really great video. I'm gonna edit this down just so you guys get a really quick glimpse about Dan Kennedy and who he is.
For me, as probably Dan's biggest fan, I'm so honored to have a chance to be able to take my mentor's work and be able to take this and pass it on to the next generation of marketers. I was 20 years old when I ran into this stuff, and it changed my life forever. I want to be able to bring that to the next generation of entrepreneurs and help change their life as well. That's number one. But number two, and more importantly, is for you guys. I want to be able to take these principles from Dan and give them to you so you have a more holistic understanding of business. Right now, all the things that people are teaching on the internet are these tactics, like the things that are here that work today but are gone tomorrow, the fleeting things. The reason why I've been in business for over 2 decades now, because my business was not built on these fly-by-night tactics. It's because I've built it on a solid foundation, on strategies, the best marketers in the world. And so I'm going to be giving you guys these strategies from Dan to be able to help grow your e-com business, for you to be able to take your coaching businesses and grow them and scale them at levels you never thought were possible. Dan changed my life, and he's going to change your life as well.
So as you can see, Dan Kennedy was a legendary marketer. I remember studying his stuff when I first got into marketing. It's the foundational stuff of marketing. Anyone who gets into marketing, I highly recommend you look into Dan Kennedy's work. When I first started watching him, I found it was kind of boring to listen to, but the more that I got into, I love the way that he diagnoses I remember this concept of you want to be able to see through the eyes of your customer. Right? This idea of seeing through the eyes of your customer. So it's really the psychology. It's the psychology of marketing, I would say. I don't know. There's a lot of great concepts that Dan Kennedy shared. And I think it's interesting that Dan Kennedy is a creator, right? He's a creator, and he was creating this, marketing content. Back in the day, people used to sell marketing courses from the stage. You go to a live event, you go to the back of the room now and buy, right? Maybe you have an infomercial, call now and buy, right? Old school stuff, but that's what a creator was, back in the day. He was a creator. He was a creator in the business space, right? And a legendary one at that. So it's interesting to see that you could be a personal brand and create content for your life, and then sell it. He sold, it's his personal brand. It's his name. He has a company called Magnetic Marketing, and Russell Brunson bought Magnetic Marketing and all of Dan Kennedy's life work. They actually talked about how he used to have an old website or blog. I think it was on magneticmarketing.com. And they actually went in the Wayback Machine, which is where you can go to see old pages of a website. And they went and they found all of his old blog posts, and they republished it. I think it's on. Can you double check that, Andrew? I think it's on magneticmarketing.com. So that's why I think this is so interesting, is that a lot of times we talk about you can't scale a personal brand, or you can't sell a personal brand, right? I remember hearing about Brian Tracy. I met someone whose father bought the international rights to Brian Tracy. So Brian Tracy licensed out his content to be sold anywhere outside of America to some other person. I don't know who it was. It was someone I knew, right? So that was another way where a personal brand can be sold, right? But it's also great that he sold it to Russell, and it's interesting to see how Russell is using it. So now when you go and buy one of his products, there's often an upsell to get Dan Kennedy's content. And Dan Kennedy's content is so much important foundational principles of marketing that I would recommend anyone getting into marketing should for sure study Dan Kennedy's stuff. Is like when I got in, this is like more than 12 years ago when I was doing it, I would do it again. I think there was just so much that now if I listen to it all, not like I listen to everything he did, but like if I were to go back and take some of these courses again, I think I would still learn a lot. So I think it's interesting how he's using it, how he made Dan Kennedy's legacy, come back alive. If Dan Kennedy would have passed away and was gone, it's kind of like, oh, he would have been, it would have been that. Some, people who've been in marketing would know who he was or, that sort of thing for some time period of time. But by Russell, he's reintroducing it to all these people who are just getting into marketing now, who are just getting into the creator space now. And I think it's just the information that Dan Kennedy shared is so important for people to understand, people who are in marketing or getting into marketing. And the other interesting acquisition. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm ashamed to admit that I haven't read any of his books, haven't taken any of his programs, but based off of the prep some of the content that I reviewed here recently, it certainly sounds like every single marketing expert that I have studied, that I have dug deep into, studied from him.
That's true.
So I feel like I've indirectly studied from Dan Kennedy, but now it's certainly time. I need to carve out some time to actually learn it from the horse's mouth, because it sounds like a lot of these concepts, a lot of the psychological, behavioral aspects of marketing all come from Dan Kennedy, which is crazy. I mean, I would love to learn who he studied now. I would love to know who mentored him.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. I think he was somebody who was he was creating a lot of these new concepts. I think that's why he was creating new ideas. That's why he was so legendary versus rehashing. The other side of this too is I've noticed a lot of creators in the business space rehash information from old school marketing people, and they as if it's their own. I won't mention any names, but it happens a lot, and it's I really don't like it. There was one guy, I remember he got called out big time for how he was verbatim copying people. And Russell Brunson's talking about just recently in this one of his recent podcasts, how he was going into the public domain. So content gets into the public domain after it's been around for, is it 100 years or something like that? So he was talking about how he was going in and looking at people that were in business and personal development, and then looking at some of this old content. And so as someone who's a creator, if you're putting out, new stuff, it's great to look at public domain to see what people were talking about before. And I was also thinking about, why do they have public domain? What is the benefit? And I think it benefits society because after 100 years, it will be forgotten if it's you're legally not allowed to use it, whatever. But by allowing people to go back and resurface it, you go back because there could be ideas from 100 years ago that are forgotten, that by us, there's a benefit for us to go look into this, find something interesting, and then bring it back up. But I do think you should credit the person you got it from, right?
Okay, so I had to do this research here recently, so let me just jump in here quickly. Shout out to Legal Eagle, probably the #1 legal YouTube channel on the planet today. Anyway, so I got this from him. Copyright is not infinite. It lasts up to the author's life or plus 70 years. It's a copyright. A patent will last up to 20 years. And a trademark can last forever. It's more about the trademarks are typically used to prevent consumer confusion. That's how those three terms are. And I literally had to just learn this recently.
Oh, interesting. So after you die, then 70 years. Or is it 70 years?
The way it's worded here is it lasts up to the author's life or plus 70 years. I don't know how the copyright would need to be filed, but there might be two options there, I guess, a box for them to take.
Well, no, but that's weird. But like Dan Kennedy was incorporated, so Magnetic Marketing, I assume, owned his content. So even if he dies, whoever owns Magnetic Marketing would then own it. So I wonder how that, because if a corporation, if a corporation owns the copyright, then how would that work? So, but yeah, because that would suck if if you make all this content and then you die and then everyone can just take it, and what if you have family and we should have looked into this before we made this. Now that we're talking,
we probably should.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, not lawyers. We're not lawyers.
Yeah.
we're marketers.
Yeah, we should look into this. So I just thought it was interesting that Russell's talking about looking into the public domain content, doing that, resurfacing this old stuff that Dan Kennedy made, and now he is selling this, and I'm sure he's going to make a lot of money doing this. He did the same thing with John Reese's Traffic Secrets 2.0. So for those who don't know, Traffic Secrets 2.0 was the first course, I believe I'm getting this correct. It was the first course to do $1 million in a day in sales. And that came from what we talked about earlier, which was the syndicate that was promoting these PLFs, the product launch formula, right? So that was like, I think at that time was like StomperNet was like Frank Kern, Andy Jenkins, and I forget his last name, Brad something. He went away. And then there was like Evan Pagan was in this thing, and Jeff Walker. And so they would always promote each other's things. So then when Traffic Secrets 2.0 came, John Reese was the one who originally was doing PLF sequence, and then Jeff Walker formalized it. I think that's how that went. But anyway, so Traffic Secrets 2.0 was actually the first internet marketing course that I ever took. So I had a group of friends. Somebody had the set. I think they were DVDs or CD-ROMs or something. And we sat for a weekend watching all these videos that were explaining different concepts of marketing, right? This was SEO. This is how blogging works. This is how affiliate marketing works. This is how forums work. And like it went on. So Russell Brunson had this book series. There was .com secrets. There was expert secrets. And then there was traffic secrets. And of course, the name Traffic Secrets. I don't know whether or not John Reese like had trademarked that name or whatever. I'm not sure how that worked, but I guess because he wanted to make the book Traffic Secrets, so he bought John Reese's Traffic Secrets 2.0. I guess the name, I don't know. And then I don't know if he's like repackaged and sold that, because it would be an outdated course. It's very old. So again, but it's a legendary program. I guess what it did is it creates that story. You know, it's a story of like, this is the original course that did $1 million in a day. But what's more, I just want to throw this out, kind of last part of the story, is that even though Traffic Secrets 2.0 was, the first course to do $1 million in a day, I feel like it was $1 million in a weekend. So I just want to throw that out there, but I'm not sure if it was a day or it was a weekend. I remember before I said it was the first $1 million launch, someone corrected me. They're like, no, it was like, I can't remember what they told me. Like it was in a weekend or in a day. Anyways, but then a couple of years ago, Russell Brunson was speaking at Grant Cardone's 10X conference, and this was big news at the time. He did a 1-hour presentation and sold $3.2 million in sales. Who knows because there's always going to be some refunds or whatever it is, right? But nonetheless, in a 1-hour presentation, over $3 million. So it was big news across the industry. Everybody was talking about this, because he went in there, and they also had like audio issues and all this kind of stuff that was going on during the event. And then he came back the next year, and then he did another pitch for how to sell from the stage. And so he did another course about how to sell. So I thought that was like, because he played into the story, right? Hey, last year I was here, I sold $3 million. And now if you want to learn how to do it, take my course.
That's brilliant.
So
there's no better way to do that.
There's a lot of people out there who talk about digital marketers doing sales funnels and call them fake scarcity tactics or whatever. I love Russell Brunson's marketing. And I've been at events or dinners, whatever. People were talking about Russell Brunson, and I stuck up.
Oh yeah,
I stand up for him every time. I really like Russell Brunson, and I think I just think he's a great person in general. I think he's a good guy. I have a funny story. We were at Funnel Hacking Live in San Diego one year, and I was with some friends, and we bumped into his assistant and another girl. I think she works. They both work at ClickFunnels, and then they invited us to this dinner where he took the whole staff. After like Funnel Hacking Live was over, he took the whole staff out to dinner, and they're like, "Oh, just come with us to the dinner." And so it was me and like 3 other friends. We ended up going to this dinner with everyone who works at ClickFunnels, and I was sitting right beside. Nice. I was sitting beside Russell Brunson's wife, and then Russell Brunson was next. It was so awkward because I was like, I felt like we were the only 4 people who don't work at ClickFunnels, and we're there, and it was awkward too because he's paying everyone's dinner and stuff. But he was just so cool and so nice, and I just really admire him. Everyone who works for him really likes him, and he just shares so much information, and I've learned so much from him too. That even though I know people out there will talk about, everyone has haters. I think the more successful you are, the more haters that you get, and I always say that the most successful people in the world have the most haters, but I don't think he has that many haters. It's not like he's doing really bad things or something, but I just want to throw it out there. Russell's watching this. I just really appreciate everything Russell does. I think he's doing a really great job, and it's awesome.
Yeah, no, the oldest saying in the world is if you don't want to have enemies, or you don't want to make enemies, go sell ice cream. And, but I mean, selling ice cream doesn't exactly make you an influencer or someone who's trying to make the world a better place. But that's the oldest saying in the world. I don't know whose quote that is. I'm not taking credit for someone else's quote here, but yeah, I had no, I'm a fan of his too. And I'm not even a big time ClickFunnels user, but I consume a lot of content on YouTube. And from what I've heard from him and learned from him over YouTube, I'm a fan of it.